What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at the first reveals from OP-13. Yeah, that's right. I know Premium Booster 02 isn't actually out yet, but it's not that far out, and we started getting reveals from OP-13, so what are we going to do? Not talk about them? No, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't sound very sensible now, does it? And we've got ourselves a Luffy leader. Now, I will say that this isn't that surprising. I'm going to be honest with you. This is not the most surprising thing ever. Because we know that OP-13 is a 3rd anniversary set. We know that the 3rd anniversary has a distinctive Three Brothers theming. So, yeah, it's cool that we're getting a Luffy leader. No, it's not surprising that we're getting a Luffy leader. This was something we could have seen coming a mile away. And I know there are persistent rumours that we're getting Sabo and Ace leaders, but we shouldn't really need the rumours that we're getting Sabo and Ace leaders because it's the 3rd anniversary set, and the 3rd anniversary is themed around the Three Brothers, so come on. Always gonna happen. Worth noting, we also do have a look at the pack art for OP-13. It's got Luffy on. Cool. There we go. But what we have got here is a new leader, and it is a red-green Luffy leader. Now, we know the deal with One Piece, of course. We're going to get a bunch of Luffy leaders. If this game carries on as long as it should, and it really is crushing lately, and since it released, we're probably going to get every permutation of Luffy leader, mono and dual color. But we have actually had a red-green Luffy leader before. It was in the very first set back in OP-01. That one let you pay 4 once per turn to set a Supernova or Straw Hat character with a cost of 5 or less active with an extra 1,000 power. Used for demo decks and learn to play and all of that. In reality, not that great of a card. Certainly nowadays it has dropped off of the map. Is this new one any better? Yes. Yes, it is. We got 5,000 power, 4 life, very standard for a dual color leader. And we've got Don X1. When your opponent attacks, as long as you have 5 or fewer active Don, then you can rest as many active Don as you like. And for each one rested, you give your leader or one of your Straw Hat characters up to 2,000 power for this battle. Oh. Well, that seems pretty good now, doesn't it? Yeah, no. Really depends how much Don you've got left active. If you're using all your Don every turn to play characters and things of that nature, then it's not going to work. But the thing is, how often during your turn do you have the exact amount of Don that you need? Sometimes you will, and oftentimes it's easier in the early game where you've got kind of more cards in hand and, you know, you're just trying to play out your early game. But honestly, there's a lot of turns where you've got 1 or 2 Don left open. And sure, you can just attach those Don to your leader or characters to give them a boost when you're attacking, but that's on your turn, not on your opponent's. Here, it's on your opponent's attack, and honestly, what you can do is just boost up this leader to a point where it's kind of gross. Like, if you've got 4 Don open, boost this leader up by 8k, turn it into a 13k leader, and then just kind of sit there chuckling because the reality is your opponent probably isn't going to be able to do very much about it. I kind of love this. Now, it makes me a little bit nervous because essentially the way this works is you're kind of going all in on making your leader pseudo-invincible. That's your goal here. Your goal is to try and make sure that your leader is as hard to get rid of as humanly possible. Okay, cool. 6k leaders are big. This can get a lot bigger. It is worth noting at this point that with the 2 tags we know it has are Straw Hat Crew and Supernova. Now, the Supernova is pretty gosh darned important. Cavendish. This works with Cavendish. Cavendish is a Supernova. This is a Supernova. And Cavendish says if your leader is Supernova and you got no other Cavendish, on play and when attacking, so up to 2 of your Don cards as active. So essentially what you're doing here with Cavendish is just making your Don active again so that you can use them on your opponent's turn when they attack to boost up your Luffy. Now remember, it's only for one battle. I need to stress this. So if you give Luffy an 8k boost, it doesn't make it a 13k leader on your opponent's turn. It means that there is one battle during which it will be a 13k leader. And it's got to have Don X1 on it to do so. Now, there is another thing which is very, 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 very important, and it's not what's written here, it's what's missing. It doesn't say once per turn. It says Don X1 when your opponent attacks. If you've got 5 or less active Don, you can rest as many as you like and give your leader or character plus 2k bump for each blah, 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 yeah? Doesn't actually say once per turn. So you have to spread them out. You can't just rest 4 Don and get the 8k boost for your entire turn. But what you can do is have, say, 3 active Don, and then there's going to be 3 attacks into your opponent's leader, where you can go from a 5k to a 7k, for instance. And like I've said, Cavendish here from EBO1 works absolutely beautifully here. And there's a bunch of others, you know, the Arouge from OP-07, which actually got a lovely reprint in Royal Blood OP-10 as well, as a special art. But it's green, so it fits with this Luffy deck. And it's a blocker that at the end of your turn sets up to one of your Don cards as active. And one way to think about this is that essentially every open Don becomes a 2k counter as long as you've got a Don on your leader. It gives you up to 5 2k counters just sitting on your board without having to use any cards from your hand, for instance. And I still think most of the time you're probably going to want to use them on your leader, you know, really make sure your opponent can't get through to take your life. But there's absolutely reasons to use this on your characters as well. And if you can keep untapping your Don with stuff like Cavendish, stuff like Arouge, oh, it's going to make things way better. There's another card which we haven't talked about in a while here, and I know I'm not the only one to mention this, but Charleston, it's an OP-05 card, but it's a 2 cost, and as a counter, one of your leader or characters will get to 4k bump during the battle, and then you can trash a card from your hand to set 3 of your Don cards to active. So, essentially, instead of using 2 Don to get a 4k bump, you use 2 Don to get a 4k bump, and then open up 3 Don to potentially get 3 more 2k bumps. Yeah, it's not a card I've looked at much lately and thought, oh, that's a good card. Now I do. Now I look at this card as like oh yeah, okay, this is cool. And then the theme here basically is cards that untap your Don. Preferably on your opponent's turn or at the end of your turn, but cards that untap your Don become way better. It's another deck that can make great use of Cavendish, and they generally tend to be very good decks. And honestly, I'm just looking at this going, I've got up to 5 free 2k counters. I've just got to leave Don open. I'd rather not just not use the Don, but like I keep telling you, if we've got these untapping cards, oh, things get spicy. Now, there are a couple of cards that have gone and been revealed, including Whoop Slap. 1 cost, 0 power, counter plus 1,000, and on play, give up to 2 rested Don to your Monkey D. Luffy. Cool. One of the important points here is if you combine this with a leader, this will put the Don on, again, just to stress, the leader does need a Don on it in order to use the skill. So you need a Don on the leader, and then you're resting it to use. It is trying to keep it in check a little bit here. Although I think it looks nuts, just to be clear. I think it looks nuts. And we can never really judge a leader when we've only seen a couple of cards from the set. But I'm just telling you, this looks ridiculous. And now we've got, you know, get an extra 2 Don on here, and you're kind of good to go. Plus, it's very, very important. It is up to 2 rested Don. Now, this is extremely important here because what you often want to do now is put 1 Don on your leader to activate the skill, but then leave the other Don open so that it's available to rest using the skill. The other card that has gone and been revealed here is Gum Gum Gatling, a 1-cost red event. And as a main, you give your Monkey to Luffy, and it is specifically Monkey to Luffy, but again, it doesn't say character or leader, just Luffy. 1 rested Don. And then for this turn, your opponent's characters, one of them gets minus 2,000 power. Not too bad. And then as a trigger, you get to minus 2k to one of your opponent's characters. So lowering power while giving a rested Don sounds good to me. It is early, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot stress that enough. It is early. We've seen 3 cards from the set. There's 3 that have been revealed. I've just shown them to you here. We don't know a lot about this. Cannot stress that enough. However, I'm telling you right now, this is a very good looking leader. It's already got some good support that we've seen. And I'm sorry, but the idea of leaving up to 5 Don open and then using each of them as a 2k counter, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that sounds fine by me. But I've told you all about this now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me if you think this looks as good as I do. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.